To the next question. How do you assess the value of person.name? Interesting. How do you assess the value of person.name? So this is a JavaScript question, a JavaScript object question. How do you access the value of person.name? Right, you have an object called person with a key value of name. How do you access it? Person.name. Oh gosh. Okay. Okay, so a number of people chose A, and I understand why you may want to choose A because of what's the name? You are passing name as a variable, right? But the question is talking about name as a property. You get name as a property. So yeah, so the answer is in the question. So do you have any question on that, or can we continue? Do you get the?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead, please.
I was thinking of using square notation, or am I wrong? Like,
So,
if you don't want to use person.name,
so
so there was another way to
yes, there
access.
is. So let's imagine I have this. You can see my screen, right? So I can either access it. Can you see my screen? The person that asks the question.
Yes, I can.
So you can either do this person.name, or you can do this person.name. What you did.
Okay, so
what you
the
selected.
quotation is.
Yes, there was no quotation. What you did was this. Alright? What you did was this. Why, in a sense, this may want to go, but it's in context of the question that was asked. This is not necessarily valid. Okay, when you are doing dynamic access, it's probably valid. Maybe when you have name like this, right? When you have name like this and you go person.name, right? So this works in a sense, you get. But in the context of the question, how do you access the value of person.name? It's basically person.name.
Alright. Thank you.
Yeah. But again, I hope you get what you did in itself may not be entirely wrong if you were to probably do it in a dynamic form like this. You get. But again, in the context of what we are asking, then. Uh-oh. A lot of people are dropping. Okay. Sorry about that. So let's go to the next question. How do you define an empty object? I think we already did this before. How do you define an empty object? The first one, is it red, like as per double quotes, or null, or empty square brackets, or empty curly braces? Okay, so I see I have a number of people selecting null and empty string, right? Then a number of people selecting square brackets, right? I understand the temptation of choosing square brackets, but square bracket is for arrays, right? In JavaScript, you use square bracket for arrays, you use curly braces for objects. But for those that selected empty string and null, is that a mistake, or do you have a question maybe I could answer for you?
It's mistake on my browser. I want to click this, but I click the other one.
Sorry. But yeah, for those that selected square brackets, please just take note of the difference. So let's quickly look at it. You have this, right? Is square bracket, which is for arrays, right? And you have this, right, which is for objects. Curly braces, which is for object. So look at the difference. It has an arrow around it, right? It has an arrow around it. So yeah, a number of people are going to drop off this. Dev and Paulina. Paulina, you're not number 2. Who is this? Yes. Okay, let's go. Oh, 3 participants lost their 7th week. Sorry about that. Which is a valid object? I like this. Which of these is a valid object? Which of them is a valid object? Oh, I like this. Which of them is a valid object? Remember, we are talking about JavaScript here. Which of them is a valid object? Which of them is a valid object? Which of them is a valid object? Blam 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 blam. Okay, so I see a number of people selecting John. Is that a mistake, or is selecting that is the red one? Is that a mistake, or if you think that one is the answer, can I get your response and why you think that, so that I can help?
Okay, so I didn't pick the John in the, but it looks very close. The only thing that helped my decision was remembering that object is value, property and value paired.
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
The only thing that helped my decision.
Yes. I think that's a good way of thinking about it, right? Even though it may want to look like, but you need to understand that object uses curly braces, right? And John is using, the first one is using parentheses, right? That is a more rounded edge, parentheses, right? Parentheses is what you use to invoke your function, right? So if you want to invoke your function, so let's say you have let's quickly create a function, get name, for example, right? So you can see parentheses is what you use to invoke your function. You get something like this. So parentheses is what you use to invoke your function. So remember, we have parentheses, we have curly braces, and we have square brackets. So yeah, let's go.
Mr. Nome,
Yeah, go ahead, please.
why is it not the green option too? I chose the right option, but I want to know why it's not green, because it's close to it.
It's not what?
Why is it not green? The option green,
Okay, so
the one with 1, 2, 3 in curly braces.
so because it's curly braces, not array, right? So this is a different way of doing certain things in JavaScript entirely, right? This is a different way of doing certain things in JavaScript entirely. You get? Do you get? So this is not a data type, right? So if it was square bracket, you could have called it an array, right? But this is not a data type in JavaScript. This is just something, right? It's just something. But let me even ask, what is it even called? Let's ask Gemini, since we're using Gemini first. What is this called in JS? I know I once used it one time, but I can't remember what it is. Many moons ago. Yes, set literal, exactly. Set literal. Yes, set literal. You get set literal. You set literal. But even at that, it's still called invalid, right? So I don't know if I answered that.
Yes, you did. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, it's so forget. Okay, let's just do 2 more questions before we go on break. What is a string in JavaScript? What is a string in JavaScript? A loop value, obviously. A label, obviously. A text, a closing quotes, obviously. Someone selected loop. So for those that selected loop, why do you think it's a loop? Or your hands were too quick? Okay, so I'll take it as a mistake. Okay, let's go. How do you convert a number to a string? Like this. I like this. I like this. I would expect everyone to know this though, because we've not talked about it in class, and I'm very sure a number of you have not read up on it. So. Bam, bam, bam. This is where most people fail. Yes. So was majorly guesswork. This was majorly. I know this was majorly guesswork, right? So in JavaScript, right? Remember we talked about how almost everything has methods, right? And one of the methods that almost every item have, either be it a number, a boolean, a lot of things have, right, is a method called toString, right? It's a method called toString. toString always convert whatever you are doing, or at least try to convert what you are doing into a string version. So for example, remember that array we have, if I was to do toString, so remember it will not always work, but you can see this works. So you can use it in place of your join that we talked about, right? So I've never tried it on an object before, because I've never seen a reason to, but you can also do that, right? So toString, you can see object, whatever. Then a number. So let's say we have let num equals to this. So you can also convert it to string. So toString, basically, you actually have toString in almost every data type you have, but you have to be careful because it works. It can act in a strange way, like an object that we saw a few seconds ago, right? In an object, for example, to just return object, because you can't necessarily convert it directly to a string, without stringifying it, right? So yeah, for those that failed it, you didn't fail it because of you were wrong. I think you took a guess, right? But again, these are one of the reasons you need to go and read up on a number of things out there. Yeah, but at least now you know. Do you have any question before I go to the next?
Yes, sir. My question is, why would you need to use that dot toString, or in what situation do we use it?
Let me think of one situation. This situation is coming to my head right now. None is coming to my head, but I can assure you, you will use it. I've used it before, a couple of times. You would use it, right? It comes in handy in a number of places. None is coming to my head now. None is coming to my head right now. But yeah, there are actually cases where you need to make comparison. I think most times is when you are making comparison, right? It's when you are making comparison.
Okay,
most times. Yeah, not all the time, but most times you get. But none is coming to my head. I'm trying to think, but none is coming to my head. But I can assure you that there are a lot of use cases. A lot of them. I think let's quickly check one. When do I use toString in real life? Bam 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 bam. Obviously, we know it's to convert. Okay, formatting number. Say okay, you can see this formatting number, right? Converting date to string, like to have a human readable form. Having manipulation and debugging, right? So there are quite a number of them. Of course, this is a more technical term, but I can assure you there's a number of them that you may want to. There's a number of use cases. Okay, so yeah, is that all? Can I go to the next now? Okay. Okay. Dev, yes, Paulina, you're still up. I believe in you. Last one before we go on a short break. Which returns string length? Which returns string length? Which of these returns string length? Is it string.words, string.count, string.total, or string.length? I think if you think of how we use array, this should help you. Yeah, string.length. So we don't. There's no default method called total or words or count, right? But there's a default property called length on string that can give you the size of your string, right? So just can just do the length, right? And you get it. The length on any string that should be on document, right? So and you get it. Alright, so yeah. I think Paulina has overtaken Dev. Nice. Let's go on like a 5 minutes or 10 minutes break. What do you guys think? Or should we continue?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
We need a break.
See you guys
Yes,
at
ma'am.
see you guys in 15 minutes.